Hello, I'm Amy Merkel from the SRJC Transfer Center, and I will be walking you through the CSU application in 4 short videos. In each of the videos, I will cover one portion of the application. So let's go ahead and get started. After you create your account in CSU Apply, this will be your landing page. But there's a few things that I want to point out before we get into personal information. Underneath my name here is my CAS ID, and the CAS ID is what you will need if you need to contact the CSU Apply Help Center. They would ask you for that number so they can access your application and help you with what it is that you're calling about. On the down arrow underneath my name, if you click on the extended profile, you'll see the information that you filled out when you first created your CSU Apply account. It will ask you what your degree goal is, and for the majority of you, that will be the first bachelor's degree. And then it asks you, who are you? Are you transferring with an associate's degree for transfer, or you're just transferring from a California community college? If you mark that you're transferring with an associate's degree, it asks you which college you're coming from, which AD program you're working on, and if you will be receiving a second ADT. If you mark you're transferring from a community college or four-year institution, it asks you by the time you enroll at the CSU campus you are applying to, how many college credits will you have earned? So if you are applying for a fall term, that would be by the end of spring, how many units would you have? And if you're applying for a spring term, it would be how many units would you have at the end of fall? They want to make sure that you are an upper division transfer student. So that would be 60 plus semester units. There are some campuses that will allow for a lower division transfer student, but not as many. And if that's the case for you, you would mark 0 to 59. But for the majority of you, you will or definitely should have 60 or more semester units. It's asking if you are returning to a CSU. In most cases, that will be no. If you have military status, and if you're an international applicant. So this is if you're on an F1 or J1 visa. And so if that is you, you would mark yes, because it triggers different questions within the application. If you are a California Dreamer, you would mark no to this question. And then because I've marked no here, it's asking me what state do I regard as my permanent home, and I put California. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and save those changes. Yes, that's how I want it to look. So back on my application, we'll now go into the personal information box. And the majority of the information in here is information that you are going to fill out on your own. You won't have much problem doing that, your contact information and things like that. But there are a few tricky questions, so let's get through those. On citizen/residency information, this first question, select the value that best describes your U.S. citizenship. If you're an AB 540 or California Dreamer student, you would mark none to this question. You would mark your country of citizenship and what year, if you were born outside of the U.S., what year did you or will you move to the United States? So we'll just put 1990 there. And then what U.S. state do you regard as your permanent home? That's being pulled from that extended profile. So that you can't change unless you went back to your extended profile. And do you claim California residency? You would say yes to that question. Have you lived in California continuously since birth? No. And when did your present stay start? So we'll just say 1990. Okay. So I've reviewed this information. And then continue to the next section. It goes into race and ethnicity information. On the box for other information, I just would like to point out this statewide student ID number is a number that was assigned to you if you went through the California K-12 system. This is optional. You do not need to put anything in this box. It is not your social security number. So if you don't know your statewide student ID number, just leave it blank. You do not need to go and try to research that. The next section, financial and parental information. This is an important part of the application because it will help to determine if you receive the fee waiver, which would waive the $70 application fees to 4 CSU campuses. So you don't want to just go through this, without really giving it a lot of thought. So there are some questions here about your household income and size information. And so you would look at each one of these. And if the answer to all of the above is none of the above statements apply to me, then you are a dependent student and you will be answering questions regarding your household size, okay? So here you would put however many people are in your household, your parents, step-parents, siblings, that type of thing. So however many people your parents claim on their taxes, you could go off of that information. Then here you can put in your parents' adjusted gross income for 2020. This is the income that was reported on their federal tax return. And then this number is actually typically 0. This is untaxed income and benefits. So this is income that was not reported on your parents' federal income tax. It's often money that a parent received through Social Security benefits or disability benefits, those types of things. Or if your parents have what's called a flex plan, and they have money withdrawn from their check each month or week that is for child care or medical expenses, then an amount would go there. But these two do not match, okay? So again, in a lot of cases, the number is just 0. Next is, are you interested in campus housing? And then what is your parent or guardian education level? So that is basically it for the first section of the application, personal information. So go on to the next video where we will discuss the academic history.